Hello everyone. Welcome to the Academic Program Assessment online training module. Annual program assessment at the College of Coastal Georgia is the method by which baccalaureate and career associate degree programs share their assessment activities over the past year, highlighting what they have learned and how they used the results of their assessment to make programmatic improvements that will hopefully lead to improved student learning. The purpose of the training is to help you learn the key elements of academic program assessment and the characteristics of a good assessment. Let's get started. First of all, why do we do assessments? What are the purposes of assessments? At its core, program assessments are about student success. Similar to program evaluation, assessment is a tool that helps us identify any limitations and then make meaningful improvements or develop interventions to enhance program quality. Additionally, we assess our academic programs every year to meet the requirements of accreditation. These purposes are not mutually exclusive. According to the accreditation principle of our accreditation body, SACSCOC, the institution should identify expected learning outcomes, conduct assessments, and provide evidence of seeking improvement for educational programs, general education, and academic and student services. For academic program assessment at Coastal Georgia, we require 5 elements for program assessment. They are the program's mission, selective or all student learning outcomes, means of assessment and criteria for success, data collection and analysis, and the use of results. These are also essential elements of an assessment cycle. Our training today will focus on these 4 elements in a complete assessment process. The starting point of an assessment is the learning outcomes. Program learning outcomes represent broad statements incorporating areas of interrelated knowledge and skills developed through a program across courses and experiences. Students will learn what knowledge and skills they will master at the end of the program. Some program learning outcomes even imply what exams and certification tests students should take before they leave the program. Program learning outcomes should align with the college's mission and school-level goals. Learning outcomes at the course level, unit level, and lesson level should align with the program learning outcomes. A learning outcome is composed of 3 major parts: the subject, an action verb, and the learning value statement. The subject should always be students, since our education is student-centered. You can also substitute students with graduates from a specific major. The action verb is the key of a learning outcome. It offers clues for selecting assessment measures. It has to be measurable and effective. Examples of action verbs that are not measurable are like appreciate or think critically. Here, effective means that the action verb targets the desired level of performance. Do not use passive verbs in the learning outcome. The last part is learning value statement, which has to be clear, specific, and realistic. Here are 2 examples. Students will compare major concepts and themes in psychology. Students will be able to structure a 3 to 5 page essay around a thesis, maintaining unity and coherence. You can also add more conditions in the learning value statement, such as by or when. Measurable and meaningful are the most important qualities of a good learning outcome. To be measurable, a learning outcome must be specific and include only 1 outcome per statement. Make sure it aligns with instruction and assessment. To be meaningful, the learning outcome must align with the program's goal. The action verbs have to be effective, indicating the appropriate conditions for performance. Finally, The learning outcome should be important to students, in addition to demonstrating knowledge, skill, or being competitive in the job market. Let's look at a set of program learning outcomes here. As you can see, the subject for each learning outcome is students. Each learning outcome has an effective and a measurable action verb. The learning statements in each learning outcome is very clear and specific. All three learning outcomes are important for students in the psychology major. The second part of an assessment is the assessment methods. Usually, there are two categories of assessment methods, direct and indirect. The direct methods are measures of students' performance or work product that demonstrates skills and knowledge, while the indirect methods are information associated with the learning motivation, perceived success, or satisfaction gathered through a survey or focus group. For example, if I ask you to write down the name of the capital city of China and Italy, I am directly assessing your knowledge regarding capital cities worldwide. However, for the second question, if I ask you how many countries' capital cities can you name, I am asking to self-evaluate your knowledge, which is an indirect assessment. These are some specific types of direct assessment methods. All course-embedded assignments, exams, and class observation are direct assessment methods because they directly test a student's knowledge or skill in specific areas. These are some specific types of indirect assessment methods. If you want to learn about students' perceptions and their experience regarding a course or an event, interviews, focus group, surveys, or reflection essays are frequently used indirect assessment methods. When you seek opinions from the third party regarding a program or students, like internship supervisors or external accreditors, their feedback is indirect data. For assessing students' knowledge, skills, or performance, direct assessments are more rigorous than indirect ones. To triangulate the assessment data, multiple assessment methods are encouraged, including both direct and indirect measures. As we mentioned before, a learning outcome statement offers clues for selecting measures. For example, the action verb improve means growth or improvement should be assessed. Therefore, a pre- and post-test and/or reflective essay should be considered. The learning value statement also provides an indication regarding a specific assessment method. If we expect the students' writing skills will be improved after the program, then papers or theses should be used for assessment. These are some useful tips that help improve the validity and reliability of assessment methods. I would like to reiterate this point that multiple methods are always encouraged, since this practice can help triangulate assessment data and increase assessment rigor. Considering the limited time and resources, modification of existing evidence whenever possible is recommended. A curriculum map is a useful tool when conducting the inventory of student learning evidence. The last tip, which is critical as well, is to be realistic and choose assessment methods based on the program's resources. The next step in an assessment is collecting and analyzing assessment data to generate assessment results. One thing you have to be cautious is that course grades or students' GPA should not be used as assessment data directly, because course grades don't reflect the students' learning for specific knowledge or skills. These measures might include students' attendance and participation. They also might collapse information regarding multiple learning outcomes, making it difficult to tell where exactly improvement is needed. Therefore, what can be used for assessment? As you can see here, the corresponding scores of an exam, an assignment, or an oral presentation can be used to represent students' learning achievement related to the program outcome, which can serve as data for program assessment. Assessment data at the program level should be analyzed in the context of the goals and objectives of the program and the student learning outcomes. The analysis does not have to be complicated. Be clear about what you want to know from the data. Here are some points you can refer to when you analyze the assessment data. If you have more complicated analysis in mind, you can contact the Office of Institutional Effectiveness for help. Once we have analyzed our data, we need to utilize our findings to strategize and implement changes for improvement, which is the final step of a complete assessment cycle. Use of results. You have probably heard the phrase, closing the loop, which is the process of re-entering the assessment cycle once changes have been made in response to assessment data. Closing the loop is the crucial step in an assessment cycle. It involves modifying strategies as needed to achieve outcomes better. Let's take a close look at the process of closing the loop. Based on the assessment results, changes for improvement will be implemented. If the improvement occurred, then the program should document the progress. Then the assessment loop can be regarded as closed. However, if improvement did not happen, the program should make modifications to the current plan or develop a new action plan, or continue to assess but document the progress. Then a new cycle of assessment might evolve. While the assessment cycle can be portrayed as a closed loop, maintaining the cycle of inquiry, and in particular sustaining the assessment process, requires revisiting and revising the way things are assessed on an ongoing basis. Here are some examples of changes strategies for improvement. These are 4 major categories at the program level: changes in curricula, pedagogy, student support, and faculty support. At last, a good assessment should be comprehensive, ongoing, and evolutionary. Program assessment is not a one-time thing. Programs should maintain a sustainable and healthy assessment cycle for student learning outcomes. Informed by assessment results, faculty could make corresponding improvements or adjustments in their instruction and assessment to better serve the needs of students and ensure the program quality. Also, using multiple methods is strongly encouraged. Make sure meaningful and accurate data are collected and analyzed. And last but not least, always put the primary emphasis on the improvement of teaching and learning, which is the core value of education. This is the end of the training. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you very much.